Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel, Sister Wives Show. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more detailed videos. When it comes to sister wives, no one can deny that the emotional complexities of the family run deep. With Kody Brown and his wives navigating plural marriage, many viewers have questioned how this family structure affects the children. One topic that has been generating increasing discussion is the role Christine Brown's children play in her emotional life, particularly whether Christine is using her kids as emotional sounding boards or even as informal therapists. As fans have watched Christine's journey unfold over the years, they've noticed that her relationship with her children has taken on a very deep emotional component. Some even say too deep. Let's face it, Christine has been through a lot, both within her marriage to Kody and in her decision to leave the plural family setup. Fans have seen her struggle with feelings of neglect, frustration, and isolation over the years. In many ways, Christine's journey has been one of self-discovery, finding her voice after being part of a dynamic where she often felt unheard. While her decision to leave Kody marked a turning point, it also left her navigating the emotional fallout. With a large family and a variety of responsibilities, it's not surprising that Christine has leaned heavily on her children during this time. But are we starting to see signs that she may be relying on them too much? Christine's relationship with her children has always been a cornerstone of her story. Unlike the other wives, Christine has a very distinct and nurturing bond with her kids, and over the years, they've been portrayed as an extremely tight-knit group. But some fans are beginning to wonder if this closeness has crossed a line into unhealthy territory. It's clear that Christine trusts her children deeply and often turns to them for emotional support. But there's a delicate balance between being open with your kids and unloading adult problems onto them in a way that can be emotionally overwhelming. We've seen examples of Christine having deep, personal conversations with her kids on the show. And while open communication is generally a good thing, there are moments when these interactions start to feel more like therapy sessions than mother-child conversations. Many fans have pointed out that Christine sometimes appears to seek validation and comfort from her kids in a way that resembles the kind of emotional support one might seek from a therapist or close friend, rather than from a child. This has sparked debates about whether Christine's emotional transparency is crossing a line and placing undue emotional pressure on her children. One of the key questions here is whether Christine's emotional vulnerability is age-appropriate for her children. Some of her kids are still fairly young, and while older children may be more capable of understanding complex emotional dynamics, younger children might not have the tools to process such information. For instance, Christine has talked about her struggles with Kody in front of her kids, discussing feelings of betrayal, loneliness, and the challenges of their marriage. This is undoubtedly heavy material, and while it's important for children to understand that their parents are human and experience challenges, there's a point where sharing too much can be emotionally harmful for the kids involved. Children, especially in larger families like the Browns, often take on more responsibility than children in smaller families. In Christine's case, this might mean that her older kids feel a sense of obligation to support her emotionally, especially during moments of crisis. While this kind of bond can be incredibly strong, it also raises concerns about the emotional burden these kids may be carrying. Are they being asked to mature too quickly? Are they being given the space to process their own emotions, or are they expected to help Christine process hers? These are valid concerns that many viewers have raised as they've watched the family's dynamic unfold over time. Christine has made it clear that her decision to leave Kody wasn't made lightly. It was the result of years of feeling unfulfilled, neglected, and even invisible in her marriage. While this emotional journey has been difficult for Christine, it's also been tough on her children. They've watched their mother go through intense emotional pain, and they've witnessed the breakdown of their family unit. This naturally puts them in a difficult position. On the one hand, they want to support their mother and be there for her in her time of need. On the other hand, they're still navigating their own feelings about the family's unraveling. And that's a lot to ask of anyone, is Christine's history with Kody and how that may be influencing her current emotional landscape. For many years, Christine expressed dissatisfaction with the way Kody treated her, and she's been vocal about the lack of emotional intimacy in their relationship. This void left Christine feeling isolated and unsupported for a long time, and it's possible that in the absence of that emotional connection with Cody, she turned to her children to fill that gap. This is a common dynamic in strained relationships. When emotional needs aren't being met by a partner, some people might unconsciously lean on their children for that support. The problem, of course, is that children aren't equipped to handle the weight of those adult issues. There's no doubt that Christine's children love her deeply, and they clearly want to be there for her as she navigates this new chapter in her life. But it's worth questioning whether Christine is fully aware of how much emotional responsibility she's placing on her kids. Are they being allowed to be kids, or are they being pushed into roles that force them to grow up too fast? It's a difficult balance to strike, especially in a family as large and complex as the Browns. Still, it's an important one. The long-term emotional health of Christine's children depends on them being allowed to process their own feelings about the family's breakdown, without feeling like they need to be their mother's primary source of emotional support. In one of the more memorable moments from recent seasons, Christine was shown having a deeply emotional conversation with her daughter about her decision to leave Cody. During this conversation, Christine shared her raw emotions, her frustrations, and her sense of betrayal. While it's certainly important for children to understand what their parents are going through, it's also important for parents to recognize that some of these conversations might be more appropriate for a therapist or close adult friend, rather than a child. Emotional unloading can be harmful, especially if children feel like they have to take on the role of caretaker or emotional stabilizer for their parent. In healthy family dynamics, emotional roles are clearly defined. Parents provide guidance, support, and stability, while children are allowed to grow and explore their own emotions within that safe framework. But in cases where those roles are reversed, and children are asked to provide emotional support for a parent, it can lead to long-term issues, including anxiety, emotional burnout, and even resentment. Of course, Christine's situation is unique. She's raising her children in a very public, very complex family structure, and she's going through a major life transition. It's understandable that she would feel the need to lean on the people closest to her, and for Christine, that's her children. But it's important to remember that while her children may be mature for their age, they're still kids, and they deserve the chance to experience their own childhood without being burdened by their mother's adult problems. We've also seen Christine express frustration with the way Cody has handled his relationships with their children. Cody's absence, both emotionally and physically, has been a recurring theme throughout the series, and it's clear that this has left a significant emotional void for Christine. This void has likely contributed to her need to seek emotional support from her kids. When Cody isn't present to share the emotional load, Christine might feel like she has no choice but to turn to the people who are there, and in this case, that's her children. But this is where the real danger lies. By treating her kids like confidants, Christine might be unintentionally robbing them of their emotional autonomy. Instead of being allowed to process their own feelings about the breakdown of the family, they're being asked to help their mother process hers. And while it's natural for family members to support each other during difficult times, it's crucial that the lines between parent and child remain clear. It's also worth considering how this dynamic might affect Christine's children as they grow older. Children who are placed in the role of emotional caregiver often develop issues with boundaries later in life. They might struggle to understand where their responsibilities end and another person's begin. They might find themselves taking on the emotional burdens of others, simply because that's what they were trained to do in their own family. This is why it's so important for Christine to be mindful of the emotional roles she's placing on her kids. Come back to our channel for all your updates. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel.